Hello, welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize the dream of owning a home or investing in one. Well, today I would like to talk about pets. Yes. If you are a new landlord considering renting to people, one of the things that you may consider or may not consider is renting to those who have pets. The main thing you need to do, whether you decide or not, is to get yourself a pet addendum. If you do decide to rent to someone with pets, realize that you should definitely charge a pet fee because pets, unfortunately, they tend to cause some damages. Not all pet owners are the same as far as how they handle their pets. In some states, if a pet bites someone, you as the landlord can be held liable, particularly if the attack takes place on your property. And then lastly, the other reason why you want a pet addendum is because you want to definitely check your homeowner's insurance. Some homeowners' insurances restrict breeds. So, for example, if yourself or one of your tenants has a particular animal of a particular breed and that animal or breed causes extensive damage or anything happens to that animal while they are on your premises, your homeowner's insurance will not cover you. Realize this though, even if you have pets, don't feel obligated that you have to rent to someone else who has pets. You don't. And whether you do or you don't, you can limit the size of the pet, the type of the pet, the breed of the pet, and the weight of the pet as well. And the reason why you may want to do this, not just for cleanliness and maintenance, but some dogs don't get along with one another. This is just an example. So let's say you do have a pet or you do have a dog and you're going to be renting to someone else who may have a dog. You want to look to see if that breed of dog gets along with yours, or else you're going to have a nightmarish situation on your hand. You won't have peace in the home. Just letting you know. Another thing to consider is that there are some animals that make noise. They bark, they squawk, what have you. If you are someone who works odd hours, they can disturb your sleep. They can also be a disturbance to other tenants that you may have in the building, and they may also be a disturbance to the entire neighborhood. The next thing that I want to mention that I have been seeing, it's not very common, but occasionally now and then, I come across people who have exotic animals as pets. You may want to specify whether or not in your pet addendum, whether or not you will allow exotic animals on your premises. But note this, that in all states, exotic animals are not legal. In New York, it's actually illegal to have an exotic animal as a pet. So to go to see what states will allow what animal as a pet, go to https://www.thesprucepets.com/exotic-pet-laws-1238565 and check there to see what's legal in the state and what's not legal in the state. And that might also affect whether or not you're going to get insurance. The next thing is this. Let's say you own property out of state. Don't fully rely on a property manager to make sure that your tenant or tenant buyers or whomever that you have there, whether or not they have bought a pet or not. Me personally, I had a property manager by the name of Tracy Ellison Bay. He goes by many different names on social media. He was responsible for my properties, but he did not check up on my properties like he was supposed to. Later, after he skipped the country, I hired somebody to go to my property and to hand some paperwork to my tenants. To our surprise, they both have pets. He failed to mention this to me. He also failed to give me a pet fee. When I spoke to them, they said that he never even collected a pet fee. So he didn't even, I'm not sure if he knew. And they also told me that he barely ever visited the property. So my advice to you is it's always good to make surprise visits to your out-of-state property. And if you, for whatever reason, can't go, because I know that one time when I should have gone and I couldn't was because I was on an operating table. Well, there is a company called WeGoLook.com, and then there are realtors. You can hire them, pay them $50 to $75 to go and take a visit. They can videotape, make sure they videotape the property. They don't even have to go inside. They can just walk around, and then they can email that information back to you. That's how you keep yourself safe if you are a landlord. Next, for those of you who want to do flips and rehabs, note that you don't want to limit who you can sell that particular house to. You want to invest in slip-proof floors when you're doing your installations, because certain floors they're not pet friendly. Like bamboo, it just scratches up easy, and it's easy for pets to slip and slide on that. You may want to also consider laminate floors, stone floors, or concrete. If you are going to choose wood, choose hardwoods like oak or mahogany. If you're going to use a rug, get a stain-resistant rug that does not have any high loops. For mats, consider seagrass and sisal. They're cheap, you can throw them away, but they're normally durable. You can also invest in low pile carpet tiles. This way, if a mess is made in one area of the carpet, instead of throwing the whole entire carpet away, you just throw away that particular tile and you can replace it. When it comes to the walls, I prefer that you use semi-gloss or satin paint because it's easier to wipe down. When it comes to the placement of appliances, just be mindful in how you place them, because sometimes the little animals, particularly like puppies or kittens, they may get behind the appliances, which have a tendency to overheat, and that can hurt the animal. When you're setting up the landscape, note that there are some plants that are hazardous to animals. The smell and touch alone can put them in the hospital. One example is roses, the thorns, and then the other one would be cactuses. Sometimes they choke on the needles that the cactuses have. If you are a stager, the furniture that you should consider is denim, canvas, krypton, microfiber, and or micro suede. You want top grain semi-aniline leathers that are dyed through. You also want to choose furniture that has rounded edges, particularly for the smaller, the baby animals, because they're a lot like children. They don't know. And sometimes they may run too fast and hit themselves. If the edge of the furniture is sharp, it can be a devastating blow to them. And as I mentioned, since children, The same thing can happen with animals. And this is more for owners than stagers. You want to keep the toilet lid closed because there have been instances when they have drowned in the water of the toilet. Moving on, I want to talk about service animals and emotionally supportive animals. Please note that even if you have a pet policy that says no pets allowed, these animals will be allowed on your property because these animals are not seen as pets. What you want to do, though, is you definitely want to verify that these animals are indeed service animals and also emotionally supportive animals. Unfortunately, you do have people who lie. There are internet websites where people have downloaded forms that say, yes, this is a supportive dog, or yes, this is a service animal, when indeed it was not. You can require to get written verification from the tenant's healthcare provider, and also you can get healthcare records for the animal. You can then also contact the medical board to verify whatever certification was given to you to make sure that it is legit. Now, even though you must not discriminate against anybody who has a service animal or emotionally support animal, and although they are not considered pets, the tenant is still responsible for any damages that those animals have done to the property when they move. You can also evict the tenant if that animal disturbs any other residents on your property or even the neighborhood. The tenant also is required to clean up and resolve any noise issues. Again, if they don't, you can evict. And you still can set limits as far as the size, breed, species, and number of supportive animals or service animals that one person has. There are other times in which you can actually deny a person, you can deny renting to a person with a support animal or a service animal. Number one, if there's no housing for the animal, you can say, no, we have denied your application. An example is you have some people who their service animal is actually a horse. Now, I live in New York City. My home is attached on both sides. I don't have a stable. So a horse I cannot store in my backyard. The horse would have to go through my living area in order to get back there anyway, and that's just not going to happen. Number two, if it would cause any undue financial burden or administrative burden to you as a landlord. Again, I have property outside of New York where there is land, but again, I don't have any stables. To build one would be a financial burden to myself, so I'm not going to do that. And if a person were to come to me with a horse or anything of that nature, I would not rent to that person. Well, I'm not renting down there anyway. It's really owner financing. But if I were to, it would definitely not go through. Number three, the next thing is if the animal is illegal by state law. Now, believe it or not, some service and support animals are monkeys, but monkeys are not legal in the state of New York. So by law, by definition, I am not allowed to rent to anybody that has a monkey as a pet. Okay? However, in some of the other states that I'm in, I am allowed to rent to somebody who has a monkey as a pet. Again, you want to go to http://www.thesprucepets, that's THE sprucepet-laws-1238565. And number 4 would be if you have to alter your housing operations to accommodate the pet. So, with all that being said, in summary, when you are considering dealing with people who have pets, think about it first. Possibly do that before you even interview anybody. Think about what you're going to say when you put it in the lease. Next, whether you agree to have pets or not, if they are a service animal or emotionally support animal, you want to verify any documentation that has been given to you. And then lastly, it helps to know the law of the particular state that you're in. And of course, you can always contact a lawyer for additional help as far as creating your lease and as far as verification and to know what is legal or not legal in your state. So that's all I have for you guys. Hopefully this information will inspire you to make smart financial moves. Remember, you can pass this along. Each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.